Welcome everyone. Today we're doing an interview with Jamil-jack Os Abreu. Um, so, Jack, you have been transitioning for how long now?
For a medically or naturally?
Medically, since you started
Medically,
hormones.
I started hormones on March 31st of 2016.
2016. So this March will be your 3 year.
Yes.
Okay. Um, so what are some significant milestones that you've achieved in your transition, and maybe the approximate time into your transition? How far were you for the first one, and then how far along for the second one, and so on?
Well, on March 31st, 2016, I started my hormones and replacement treatment. From there, when I moved to Georgia, I started looking into trying to do my name change and stuff. Once I was able to get a doctor, I was able to get my gender change on November 1st, 2015, and then I got to a pause moment where I couldn't achieve nothing. It was becoming because in the area I was living in, there was not much transgender doctors,
And what
so I had
area
to
was that?
Macon, Georgia. So I
Okay.
had to go to another city to actually being able to do all my stuff. So, January of 2018, I got my legal name change from there.
Okay.
And then in November of 2018, I got my top surgery.
So, can you tell me how much of a change in your own personal self-image did the top surgery make? How bad was dysphoria before it, and how's it been since then?
Ooh, that is a very interesting question because my dysphoria was like the top of the line. I mean, I think that I was dysphoria within a week, maybe about 4 to 5 days. And after surgery, I had surgery in November, and I haven't had dysphoria since then.
So that was pretty much a life-changing event for you.
Yeah, mentally, a very big difference for me.
Um, would you like to discuss how you were treated at work before and after the surgery, and any difficulties you had in concealing, your top equipment there?
Okay, it was the job I was doing, and I was working in a moving truck where I was picking up donations from people's houses to take it back to the store and the warehouse where I was working at. I don't want to name the company because it's a big company and don't want it to be known as a bad rap because it's not the actual company, it was the people that was working there. And they're very, very LGBT friendly, but because of where I was working and the people that I was working with, they was not trans friendly at all. And after I had when once they found out I was trans, it was misgendering, and didn't get misgender until someone went to the store that knew my wife and started talking about stuff that they did not need to talk about. That's how they found out that I was trans. I mean, they never misgendered me before that. After they found out and outed me to my coworkers, is when they started to misgender me.
Okay. Um,
But now I'm at a workplace. I'm working at an airport, and I don't get misgender. I mean, nobody really knows that I'm trans at the same time, so there's no reason for me to even tell that I'm transgender.
okay, I would like to elaborate on that just a little bit, if you don't mind. Um, Obviously, working at the airport, you have to have some kind of security clearances and all that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you had your name changed a couple of years ago, And was that a issue for you in the in the background
Yes,
process and
it
all?
actually was because of the fact that they do FBI fingerprints and a little deeper than normal background checks. So my birth name did come up, and I just gave my name change documents because it doesn't say if you're male or female. It just pops up your birth name. I showed my documents, and there was no problem from there.
Okay. Now this is a curious question about that. Okay, so your original birth certificate and everything had one gender on it. Your driver's license and all now, and your birth certificate has a different gender on it. Was there any effect on the FBI background check because of the changes there? Did that have any effect on it at all?
I mean, the birth name did come up.
Okay, but I mean, there was nothing about the new gender and everything, so that
Nothing.
cleared with no problem.
That clear, no problem.
Okay, well that's awesome to know. Thank you. Um, so I understand that you just came out through the Fulton County Board of Health in a video that they did, and that you had an event last night about it. Would you care to tell us a little bit about what the video is about and what kind of goal you're working towards with it?
Well, it was a conversation about trans men's health and what our personal experience as what we go through and the everyday challenge being a trans man and our health issues with our providers.
Okay. Is this something you're going to be working towards or doing more of?
Well,
Or
I am working on a new project that I've been trying to plan for a while now, but I'm planning to actually register my nonprofit organization sometime for the next few months. It's going to be called Trans Journey GNC. Trans, it, hold on, I'm sorry. It's called Trans and GNC Journeys. And it's going to be focused on what trans people go through and what our experiences are, and even before transitioning, after transitioning, from all walks of life. You
so
know,
it's going to be a video or
it's gonna
written or
we're
what?
gonna be documenting on every YouTube, Facebook. I still am working on trying to create the Instagram, and still don't know how to go about that. But I'm working on trying to contact more trans men and trans women and GNC individuals to tell their stories about what they go through as a trans person.
Awesome. And so it's going to be video though, right?
It's mostly going to be videos. We're going to
Okay.
be doing events and everything else.
Okay, that sounds interesting. So pretty much you're going to create a video archive of all our stories and putting it together. Do you have plans for anything once you get a bunch of the stories together? Is there anything you're going to do with them? I mean, what's
Yes,
your vision?
I plan because it's our main place down here for LGBT. It's the Rose Center. I plan to have an event there. I still need to contact people, but try to do an event and do like a panel discussion, have youth come, their parents come, allies, and talk about our stories. You know, the stories that people don't hear every day because a lot of people don't hear stories from trans men. And I want to get that out there more, but I'm including everybody. I'm not excluding nobody. This is welcome for trans women. This is welcome for trans men, GNC, trans and queer, whatever you idea as within the trans umbrella. We're going to be telling your stories, and we are going to be doing events where you're going to be able to actually stand up and tell your story to an audience.
Okay, now is this going to be something of a like support group as well? You know, I mean, if let's say if if Jane Doe over here were to get up and give her story, and she'd been through a lot and was maybe searching for help, is there going to be someone to
Yes,
help?
I'm also planning to do like a big brother, big sister type of thing.
Like a
Also,
mentoring?
like a mentoring program also where, older trans women can mentor the younger trans woman who are just coming out, or the trans man who's been transitioning 3 and plus years and can help the younger generation who are just coming out. The same thing for queers and GNC. If you're just coming out as GNC, y'all go through me being me personally, I ID as a gender nonconforming person before I transitioned because I was lost within my own self because of the fact that I felt I didn't fit in neither gender. So the people of GNC go through a lot of stuff that people don't understand, and the older people who are GNC to help out the younger people generation also.
Okay. Do you still identify as GNC?
No,
What do you identify as?
I it's I'm leaning more to just completely just transmasculine and trans man, but it's still within the queer trans man
Okay.
because there's certain things that I like to do, and there's certain things I like. I mean, a lot of trans men don't like cooking and cleaning and doing a whole bunch of stuff, and I do. I'm not gonna change who I am just because other people said that that doesn't fit within the gender that I identify with.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Um, okay, so you mentioned the Philip Rush Center a few minutes ago. I understand that you're in a class of some sort there. Would you care to tell us a little bit about it and where you're at in the class?
Yes, we're it's a Transaction Leadership Academy, and it's with Chanel Haiti, and she is for gender equality. She gives
Georgia Equality?
Georgia equality. I'm sorry. Um, she is the one who runs the program, and she um has a class for transgender people to help them become leaders in the community.
Okay. And how long have you been into class?
Almost a year. In April will be a year, so we'll be doing our graduation April 22nd.
Okay. Um, let's see, what was I going to say? I understand that you have, you know, made a lot of changes. You've dealt with a lot of rejections and stuff like that. Um, One of the issues that is being kicked around is discrimination in the marketplace. I mean, in the workplace.
Mhm.
Um, just out of curiosity, how much of that have you personally experienced?
Well, like I said earlier, I am
Well,
self at my job. You know,
mm-hmm.
mm, nobody knows that I'm trans. At my job is a new job. I just started it. I want to get people to know me before they even know that I am a transgender man.
Okay.
I don't want to just put it out there and say, hey, I'm trans. You know,
So, in other words, if you present as a man, you look like a man, you act like a man, you're doing a man's job, then you should be a man, and that's all they need to know. Is that correct?
well, I am a man,
Okay.
and I want them to get to know me, as Jack, as a man that I am, before I even tell them that I'm trans or they find out I'm trans for any reason, which they shouldn't. But I want them to get to know me as me before they can judge me before being trans.
Okay. I also see from your bio that you are a community outreach organizer for a company.
Transgender Barriers of Atlanta. We
And
help
what
with
do they do?
name change, with housing. We help. We have a lot of resources that you can get through us. It will direct you if we don't offer the service. We direct you to the right place where you need to go.
Okay, so you give referrals and
Yes.
resources and all that. Okay. Um, so one last closing question, and this one might take you a while to answer, but if you could speak to your younger self, like your childhood self, or if you could give some advice to someone who is just considering or questioning whether they should transition or not, what kind of advice would you give?
It's good that you mentioned my childhood because that's something I do want to talk about. My childhood is hard to explain what I went through without it being so emotional because it's very, very a difficult situation. I'm the youngest from five kids from my dad's side. From my mom's side, is four of us. I have a half brother that is from Cuba. I don't know him in person or anything, but from that side of the family, and my dad being from an old generation, born in the 40s,
Old school?
yes, very
Okay.
old school and stuff. It's like he don't really understand it, so he doesn't agree with it. You know,
Okay.
he doesn't want to talk about it. If I can tell somebody something to my old self was, walk away from my family and be who I want to be. Identify how I identify it as for so many years. It's just being able to transition at a way earlier age. Because I did stop from transitioning because of my parents. And so that would be something I would tell my old self. But what I went through as a child, it was very hard for me because I had to live for my parents and for them only and do what they wanted, how they wanted, when they wanted. I was a very, very unhappy child because of that. I can't accuse them for making me unhappy. It was me more like being afraid. My mom kind of knew her whole life because she's taken me to therapist since I was 5 years old. So that wasn't an issue. The issue was more my dad than my mom. But you know, I like I said, I can't blame them. They're my parents. You learn as you go as parents. You, being a parent, you don't get a handbook and say this is how it is to be a parent. You learn as you go. None of us can accuse the parents and for the way they treat us, of how they deal with us, of with our gender identity, because it's different for each parent. They don't understand it. You know, and I wish that there was a handbook to tell my parents, this is what I'm going through. This is this is the guide of how to deal with it, because there is no guide.
Well, is that
Dealing with
because
a
it's
trans
different for
person.
everybody, or
Yes, it is different for everybody. Everybody comes out at a different age. Everybody finds themselves at a different age. Some teens, some adults, some younger. For me, it was at an early age of 5 years old, 6 years old. Sometime around there. You know, from that age, I already had told my mom to call me Jail. That was my name I wanted to be called. I didn't want to be called my birth name. That's the name I picked from a young age, J.O. And those are the initials of the name that I have now. You know,
okay?
and I knew from a very early age who I was. I knew I was going to transition at one point in my life, but I was holding back because of my parents. I stopped. I couldn't even speak to my parents because of the spoil and an emotional battle that I was going through. I didn't stop talking until I was in the fifth grade, and the only one I was talking to was my sister. She's the only one who knew that I actually knew how to talk. Not even my parents knew I knew how to talk.
Wow.
They thought I was deaf. That I didn't speak, that I couldn't hear them or anything like that. They really didn't, because I had a brother who was mentally ill. Their focus was more on him than me. I'm the younger one, but their focus was completely off of me.
Yeah.
So they really don't know everything I went through, being raped at an early age also. Being emotional abused by my partners, you know,
Did the rape or the emotional abuse, did any of that have anything to do with your, gender identity and your decision
yes,
to? Okay.
and it wasn't. That's not the reason why I transitioning. It has to do the reason why I got emotional abuse and raped. It had to do with my gender identity because my partner didn't agree with them. So
Okay.
they decided to go that route. I have gotten also my last job in Florida. I was raped. By the valet parker. You know, I went to get my car. I was a supervisor there, and I had to go home to grab some uniform for another coworker because I had the uniform for my employees at my house because it was the closest one to the office. So if somebody needed emergency clothes, I could run home because it was just a couple of blocks away. I went home and I came back, parked my car. The guy knew where I would used to park at. He was waiting there. You know, no cameras, no proof of anything. He was trying to get with me. I wasn't interested. He got mad because of it, and I tried to let people know. I tried to speak about it, and nobody would listen.
Okay. Now, obviously, that's a very um, real subject that's going to touch many people that might see this video. Um, do you have any advice for someone who's been through that on how to handle it, how to heal from it? Um, should they report it?
You
Just
never
any.
get healed from it. You never
Okay.
do. That is, for me, that's a false statement. People say that you heal from a rape. That rape stays with you for the rest of your life.
Okay.
It stays in the back of your mind, even though you try to ignore the thoughts and you learn to deal with it and pass every day and try to forget about it as much as you could. But there's always a trigger that always makes it come back.
Right.
It's there.
So it's similar to a PTSD situation
Kind
where you
of,
can be triggered real easy.
and the only advice I give is speak up.
Speak up.
Speak up, don't stay quiet. Tell a friend, tell family, tell somebody. Somebody is going to listen. Be a voice because the next person you might be saving their life.
Okay. What about for someone who is um, just coming out or just starting to transition? Do you have any advice on what they should do, how they should go about it, maybe?
On the transitioning part,
Yes.
do not compare your journey to the next person's journey. Be yourself, do your research, look for resources, get connected with other trans people that has your same that you feel more connected to the resources that you're looking for. If you're trying to get contact with, if you're trans man, get in contact with more trans men. If you're a trans woman, get connected with more trans women. If you're a GNC, like that, look for
Right.
your own group of people so that they can give you the resources that you need. The older generations need to teach the younger generations of and guide them through the steps of how there's no perfect way to transition, but a little guidance will help.
Okay. Great answer. Thank you. Now, I'm really going to throw a bomb at you. Um, a few minutes ago, you mentioned like a guidebook for parents. That.
Mhm.
Have you ever thought of being a parent? And is there any advice that you would have for other people in your position that might be considering parenthood?
Well, I guess my wife wouldn't mind me speaking about it. But I am off of tea right now and trying to carry as is this moment. So, going through a little hormone change and stuff like that. My voice is back changing and going back to his old self, I guess. I don't know. But there is the emotional battle of getting off of tea, trying to carry a baby, trying to see if you can. I've gone to tests. I gone to the doctor trying to see. I gotta wait a couple of months now to run more tests. In the meanwhile, I got to track my hormones and stuff that my bodies are going changing too.
Like your ovulation cycle and
Yes.
all?
I
Okay.
don't want exactly go there. Yeah, but
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I got to track it to see if I can, if I cannot. I've been buying products to test myself and checking my body could. Until now, my uterus is, they say it's perfect, perfect condition. Testosterone didn't screw it up. So until now, everything seems to be good. We just got to track that to see if I can. So hopefully, it will happen. Hopefully, it will happen, and me and my wife can start a family.
Awesome. So, to close this video out, I guess, last question for you. What is your plan for the future?
My,
What's your next goals?
like I said, I'm working on trying to start a family with my wife. From there, I am trying to get into either Fulton County Health Board or trying to do the HIV testing. I want to focus my career on helping trans people and people under the transgender umbrella and help them transition. I'm also trying to help people who are under the umbrella on how to get insurance and how to get surgery and how to get on hormones and different stuff like that trans people don't know because they haven't been been transitioning for long, so they don't know how to go about it. But I've been guiding them, and a lot of people have been contacting me about how to get insurance, how to get top surgery, how do I get my insurance to cover my hormones. I've been helping a lot of these people that have been contacting me to help them, and it has been a success right now. A lot of people that I know have my old doctor that I was going to for like 2 years. Dr. John Odeker, he is an excellent doctor. I was with him for 2 years, and my transition went real good with him.
What made you leave him? I mean, do you have another doctor now?
I Right now I don't have a hormone doctor. No, I don't. And the only reason I left him is because he doesn't take the insurance I have right now.
What insurance is that?
Kaiser.
The Kaiser Permanente?
Yes.
Do you consider them to be very trans friendly?
In some part, yes. And not in all aspect because they're not. I don't believe that they're educated in every department that trans people need for them to be educated on their health issues.
Okay.
They might know about trans men about top surgery or trans women on hair removal and stuff like that. But when it comes to the bottom parts, for either trans woman and trans men, they're not familiar with it. And there's a lot of stuff that I have to teach my doctors because they don't know. And it shouldn't be like that. They're the one who has gone to school. They're the one who got the education. They should, when they come to transgender people, they should know what we're there for and what health issues, that covers us. What we need from them to know and be educated on.
But it's also equally important for you to educate yourself on what you need so you can talk intelligently with your doctor.
Yeah, but if you don't know, and then you're going to the doctor, and you're expecting your doctor to know, you shouldn't have to be doing the research for your doctor.
All right. Well, I don't have any more questions. Jamil-jack Oz-Abreu, thank you very much for your time in the interview.
And one more thing. I
Okay.
want everybody to know, look up on YouTube, Trans Journeys and GNC. Facebook, we have a light page. We have a private group also. And soon we'll be doing the Instagram also. And we'll be posting videos of a couple of people that have been contacting me this week. So stay tuned for the future events and all the good stuff that's going to be happening this year. Because we are going to have events. We're going to be doing things. Mostly, my interviews are going to be hosted on either Thursdays and Fridays. So, if y'all are interested, contact me, Jamil-jack.
All right. Thank you.